When it comes to electric trailer brakes, what causes them to fail or wear out prematurely? Well, stay tuned. We're going to talk about the top reasons that you need to be aware of and that you possibly need to address. When it comes to electric trailer brakes, they're really pretty simple. The technology is older technology, but honestly, it still works. If you know how to use it and how to maintain it and you do those things properly, you can get a lot of service out of those and they will stop when needed. This is a brake assembly that's going to fit 5200 up to 7K axles, and when you go into the larger, they're still pretty much the same other than having a bigger shoe on them. You also can get this in self-adjusting, and then your larger sizes, 8K and above, those are usually going to come standard self-adjusting. And we're not going to get into the depths of self-adjusting today. We do have some videos on that. And that being said, be sure to check the link in the description below. We're going to link some other videos that will go really in depth on some of the topics and the situations that we're going to talk about today. So we're going to start with the first issue, in my opinion, that really causes a lot of the trouble that needs to be addressed, and let's jump right into that. So really the top reason that I see a lot of that causes failure, premature wear, and your brake's just not working correctly is the brake controller. And not that there's anything wrong with the brake controller, it's a lack of knowledge on how to use that brake controller, how to use it properly, whether it be a good Takancha brake controller or a factory controller. They pretty much work the same. Most of those are proportional today. Leave a comment below if you know how to correctly use your brake controller, or leave a comment below if you just get in, plug in, and hope for the best. I've been talking about this a lot here lately out of some aggravation on a vehicle that I have. It has an automatic tailgate. Sometimes it will just open going down the road on its own. It doesn't have the handle. You have to push the electronic button to get it open. I'm a grown man. I can open my own tailgate. Put me a handle back on it on like an 85 Chevrolet. I'll even take the ones on the 90s that you got to pinch together. I'd much rather have that than some crappy electronic tailgate. I don't need to push it from inside my dash to get it to open, and I dang sure don't need it to go open down the highway. Why do we have crazy things like that? It's because everything we have in our society today is automatic. You go into the hand washing sink, you can put your hand underneath it, it gives you water. But it's that way with everything. Everything's automatic. There are some things that I think that we need to have a little more responsibility on. This right here, believe it or not, is not completely automatic. You have to do some things to this in order for it to function properly. And that's where we need to get. But unfortunately, with the vehicles we drive today, I mean, some of them self-drive. They'll tell you when you're getting too close, if you're following too close, if you're lane changing. Really, we have to put those safety features in place because we drive around like a bunch of zombies. Well, when it comes to brake controllers and brakes, don't be a zombie. You need to understand how the controller works. I've got one mocked up over here. This is a Prodigy P2. It's similar to the Primus, but it has some more options on it. Both of these will control up to 3 axles. They do make other controllers that we've talked about that will, better serve you if you're running electric or hydraulic. I just have this mocked up just to show you a couple simple things. So when you hook up to your trailer, you have a setting on here, whether it's a Takancha or some other controller, you're gonna have some function that's gonna let you increase the voltage or decrease the voltage. That's your output. That is the output that you're applying to the brakes when you're in a braking situation. So I have this light right here. I have it mocked up. It's going to show error here in a minute because it's going to say, hey dummy, you got this hooked up to a light and not a brake magnet. But we're going to see if we can cheat it. So we're going to focus on that light. I have it on 0 right now. So when I hit the manual controller, there's not much going on. But as I increase voltage, that's like some good mood lighting in a good steakhouse right there. We're about 6.1. Get it off a boost. If we go up to 12, it gets brighter. So it's really simple. The higher the number, the more voltage you're given. The lower the number, the lower the voltage you're given. So this is how this works. So say we've got this thing on 5 or close to 5. As close to 5 as I can get. So when you're going on the highway, if you're going 5 miles an hour and you hit your brakes, it's not going to put out the full 5. It may give you just a little bit. It may give you 1.2. It may give you nothing because it doesn't need it. Now, if you're going on the highway at 25, 30, 40 miles an hour and you slam on the brakes and you have this set to 5, it's likely going to give you all 5 pretty quick. Same being said if you have it at 12. If you're going slow, if you're one of those guys or gals that actually don't wait till the last minute to stop, it may only give you a little bit. It's not going to run it up to the full output of 12 that you have it set on. So what is the magic setting? Here is the magic setting. I'm going to give you the life hack that's going to make life easy. There is no magic setting. The magic setting is you and your knowledge and the practice and your experience driving. It's going to change. We've talked about it in videos before, but I get this question so much, and I see people who's been pulling for years that really have no idea how the brake system works, how the brake controller works. And like I said, we're talking specifically about electric brakes today. You've got to understand how it works. If it is humid outside, your brakes are going to act differently than if you're in a dry climate. If the roadway is wet or you have snow or other types of moisture on there, they're going to act differently depending on the situation. If you're unloaded compared to loaded, they're going to act differently. So you can't just get in the truck, whether it be an automatic or whether it be a factory brake control or an aftermarket. It's not going to do it for you. I am surprised of the people that come in with a new vehicle that has a factory brake control, and I ask them, what are you running your brake controller on? They go, what do you mean? This thing's got a brake controller in it? Well, I hope it does if you're pulling a trailer with brakes. Be careful of that. You know, you may read your owner's manual, but there's this thing called YouTube and the Googler that you can get on the old interwebs, and you can find out a lot of information. It might not always be good information, but you need to glean a little bit from what you find to better operate this controller. It's surprising. I'll tell somebody like, hey, don't run that controller on 8 or 9 because you're going to burn the brakes off of it. And they come in 6 months or a year and say, hey, I burnt the brakes off of it. Well, what were you running on? 8 or 9. It's that automatic world we live in where everything just, you know, it just comes out of a dispenser, he puts the button and it's ready to roll. Spend some time on this. If you pull any extent, whether that be hauling equipment or whether that be hauling a travel trailer for recreational use, if you're going miles, you need to learn this brake controller. You need to learn, like, hey, it's, you know, I'm setting it too high, I'm setting it too low. You know, occasionally get out, check your temperatures. You can put your hand near the brakes, don't touch it because it may be hot. Get you one of those infrared guns, check the temps to see if they're all, you know, all the same. But usually most of the brake control or most of the brake issues starts at the controller. It's not enough output, it's too much output, it's not changing it during different driving scenarios and or weather conditions. So make sure you know your controller. And now we're going to move on to a couple other issues that are just as bad, that if you put those along with this, you're not going to have good braking, and you're for sure not going to get enough life out of it. Moving right along to brake issue number 2. You can see this drum here. This is a 7K. You can see it looks pretty new. Even the grease in it is not bad. You know, it's still pretty good shape. The paint has not been blistered off of it, so the shoes haven't made a ton of contact on there. But this is scrap metal at this point, or as we like to affectionately say, the cheeseburger fun, and I'll show you why. It's going to be a little hard to see, but this area right here is where the magnet contacts, all in here. Rub a little grease on to see if you can see those ridges. But the magnet from over here, we'll move the camera, so this magnet here is what contacts here when you apply the brake pedal, which is the brake controller operates this, and it catches here to expand the brake shoes. What we have here is the brakes not being properly adjusted and the controller being turned too high. I'm not sure what the setting was on this, but the controller is being run so hot that the magnet is trying to do all the work. It's trying to stop the vehicle instead of the brakes, and there's not been proper burnishing, and there's not been adequate brake adjustment on here. So that is very common. We will have drums come in all the time. There will still be quite a bit of surface left where the shoe meets, but this surface here where the magnet is running is grooved so heavily, even if you were to put a new magnet on there or a new complete backing assembly, it's not going to work because it's not going to contact enough. What this will also cause, this is a friction. I mean, it's a magnet that's going against metal. That's, you know, you have friction here, you have friction here. This will get so hot, it can boil the grease or oil, depending on what type of setup you're running out, which is going to get, you know, lubrication inside the brake assembly. It's not going to make it work, and you're going to lose lubrication in your bearings, which could cause catastrophic failure. So this is the second thing, is improper brake adjustment. Most manufacturers are going to recommend that you do a brake adjustment every 3,000 miles. If you do a new brake job, Your initial break-in period is going to be anywhere from 100 to 500 miles for your burnish in. If you're not familiar how to burnish your brakes, we will leave a video in the link below. A lot of people will do that. They'll stick new brakes on, head to their trip because, you know, they've waited the last minute, and I'm as guilty as that as anybody, but you're gonna need to break those in some and do a secondary adjustment. If you have self-adjusting, it will help with that, but I recommend even with self-adjusting, you at least check it out. Self-adjusting is good because it keeps the brakes, you know, on paper at their optimal performance, but there are extra components in there that if abused and over brake, those components can come off and actually cause a failure due to them falling off. So self-adjuster is not the problem solver to everything. Even though they're self-adjusting, even though they're automatic, you're still gonna have to maybe do a manual adjustment or at least put hands on it or eyes on it. That's why I recommend, you know, if you're running a Easy Lube setup and an automatic adjuster, you still need to tear that thing down once a year just so you can see the condition of everything. So brake adjustment is key. The brake controller does not give you brake adjustment. That increases your voltage, and that is a misconception. When this wears and needs to be adjusted, I don't care if you turned it up, if it went to 50, it's not necessarily going to give you more braking. The adjustment has to happen at the brake drum, at the brake assembly location, whether that's an automatic or a manual. You or a shop that you take it to of your choice has to do that adjustment. You cannot achieve that through the brake controller. So don't just keep, if you're having to constantly crank the brake controller up, you need to look at your brakes. You may need to have them replaced. You may have contamination in there. You may have some potential failure that started, or they may just need a simple adjustment where you have to jack it up, and you can check out our brake adjustment video on that. So this is very common. This is something see every day, honestly. It's just the magnet has been turned up so hot that it just grinds the drum all to pieces, and it's gone at that point. So just because it looks pretty on the outside, it may be scrap iron material on the inside. Now, you may get a nickel for this if you take it to the scrap yard, but if you see it in this situation, don't just throw a brake assembly in there either, because you're just gonna waste your money. It's gonna chew up the new magnet and the brakes, and you're still not gonna have any brakes. You would need to replace both components, the drum assembly and the brake assembly at that point. So that's number 2. Let's talk about number 3. This is one of my favorites. I know some of y'all are gonna be guilty. If you're guilty of what we talk about next, leave in the comments and like, I'm guilty of that. I've done that before. And we're gonna see if we can help you not do it again. When it comes to scenario number 3, it could be argued this is the most common. I see it a ton. It's not necessarily a lack of knowledge, which it's some of that. I think it's some marketing, the way it's marketed. We get some misconceptions that we draw about it. So you're just gonna have to do a little more research on your end to better understand how to use it. But when it comes to electric trailer brakes, they are dry brakes. They are friction. They need to be clean. They need to be free of any type of debris, any type of contaminant, especially lubrication. So number 3, that is a brake killer, is the old grease gun and grease. It a lot of times is the electric grease gun, the pneumatic grease gun, the one that's automatic, so you don't have to go, you just have to go, ing, 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 ing. Does yours sound like that? If it does, maybe you have a Milwaukee. The first one we bought was a Lincoln back in the old days. We have really stepped away, even on our equipment. We don't use a ton of the electric anymore. We went back to some good manuals. This is lock and lube. You will spend a little money for this gun, but it just holds up well. So this is primarily what we use. I just like the fitting on it. But what happens is on an Easy Lube setup. Easy Lube is easy. It is easy to pump grease into the drum, and it's just as easy to pump so much grease in the drum that you will start to get leakage. And we'll pull this other drum back up. So as you can see here, it has some that has come out. Not bad, but it's starting to come out. And eventually this will just keep going and migrating all the way. Here's one of the mistakes that's made with the Easy Lube. People use it to put perpetual grease in. So, you know, I take a trip every once in a while. I give it a couple shots before I leave. That's not what it's designed to do. The Easy Lube is designed 2 things. It's designed for like a marine application. And then it's also designed to change the grease out in your drum without having to remove the drum. So literally, when it comes time for your maintenance interval, which, you know, some manufacturers are 12,000 miles, some are beyond that, you hook your non-powered grease gun up if you follow manufacturer's instructions, and you pump grease in there till it evacuates all the old grease and replaces it with new grease. And in a perfect world, you can check our Easy Lube video out on that. In a perfect world, it does work. If properly done, best case scenario, it will work. But just pumping a little grease here and there, the problem with that is you're not going to remember how much grease you've pumped. If you use a pneumatic or an electric, especially if you got that dude cranked on 10, it is going to blow grease out the rear seal. We'll show this again. It's going to blow grease out the rear seal. It is heavy, so it's going to fall down. The first place it's going to go is right here. You're going to, that much grease right there, that's not much, but just imagine you start wiping that around. It's all you need. You don't need much, but now you have very little to no braking. It will get hot due to the friction from the magnet trying to work. It will sling it onto the brake shoes, and you're not gonna have any brakes. And that's when you go back to the controller to do your brake adjustment. Hey, my brakes are not working like they were a month ago, so I'm gonna go from 5 to 8, and all you're gonna do is create more voltage back here. You're gonna get it hot, and if you have enough grease in here, and say that it does wear off some, and you're making good contact with this, and this gets heated, depending on what grease you're running, if you get this hotter than the drop point of the grease, it can cause it to ignite and you may have a fire. Comment below if you've ever had a grease fire in your drum, or if you've seen one on the side of the road. That's usually caused by over greasing or lack of bearing pack, and one of the bearings is overheated and has welded itself onto the spindle, and it will catch on fire. Sometimes it burns the whole trailer down. So if you're going to use this, which if you've watched my videos, you know where I stand on Easy Lube. If you're going to use this, you have to do it exactly like the book tells you to do it. If you're going to use Easy Lube, I'm still going to recommend at some point in life to tear it down and take a look to make sure that your back seal has not been compromised, you've not poured a bunch of grease into the drum assembly, and just to check your bearings out. I get the point behind Easy Lube. It does make it easier for the consumer to do a bearing pack. They don't have to do a tear down. They don't have to take it to a shop. But if it's not used correctly, or if the system fails, it's still going to cost you time and money. It's one of those things, you know, just because it's simpler, it's easier for us, it's not always easier for us. That's just the world we live in today. We like things simple, but sometimes we have to take a little responsibility on us. So make sure you know your brake controller. Make sure you know when and how to do your brake adjustment, and make sure you know how to properly lube your bearings if you're using Easy Lube, or if you're doing the other method, just a traditional bearing pack. Make sure you know how to do those. If you know how to do those three things, even though there's other scenarios when it comes to electric brakes prematurely wearing and failing, those three are the top. If you know how to do those, correctly do those, or take it to a shop that can help you out with that, it is going to save you time, trouble, and breakdowns. Just spend a little time, you know, after watching this video, check some of our other videos out, read your owner's manual, search the interwebs for those stuff. Just get some knowledge about that, and it's going to save you some money, and it's going to help you to stop, which will also not prematurely wear out the brakes on the vehicle that you use in a tow. If you have to end up doing a brake job on both, I mean, you're not going to be hundreds of dollars, you're probably going to be in the thousands of dollars, and if you're not budgeting for that, it may be tough to handle all that. And if you can't stop, you know, hopefully it's not a scenario where you need to stop and none of this works and you crash, and that's going to cost you the big bucks. Thanks for tuning in today. Make sure that you know how to use these three things. Make sure you're tightening the lug nuts. Make sure that you don't have no grease inside the brake assembly, because it ain't gonna work. And we will see you down the road.